Welcome to Leadership Unleashed, the show that will explore the multifaceted world of leadership through insightful interviews, thought-provoking discussions, and practical advice from leaders throughout Westchester County and beyond. I'm your host, Dr. Marsha Gordon, President and CEO of the Business Council of Westchester.
Join us on today's episode as we explore leadership in global organizations, focusing on the dynamic balance between community engagement and international leadership. Our expert guests today are Josephine Bertrams, Chief Corporate Affairs Officer of Heineken USA, and Nancy Dowling, General Secretary for Danone North America. And how pleased we are to have both of these corporate leaders and their teams in Westchester County, White Plains, New York. We are also so proud to have Westchester Medical Center as the premier sponsor of the Leadership Unleashed podcast. So welcome, Josephine, and welcome, Nancy. Before we begin, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and your organizations? Why don't we start with Josephine?
First of all, thank you so much, Marsha, for having me and having us. I'm very much looking forward to the conversation. So, what do I need to tell about myself? I'm the head of corporate affairs for Heineken USA. I hopefully don't need to explain Heineken, the number one beer importer for the Heineken brand and some Mexican brands like Dos Equis and Tecate. We are very happy to be headquartered in White Plains for I don't know how many decades now.
And well over 2 decades, yes.
And my responsibilities are corporate affairs, so that means communications, media, PR, government affairs, sustainability.
Great. And Nancy?
So I'm Nancy Dowling. I am General Secretary of Danone North America, and that means I head up the legal, regulatory compliance, and public affairs and communications functions at Danone North America. Many of you may not know Danone, but you certainly know our brands, which would include Activia and Oikos, Silk Soy Milk, International Delight Coffee Creamers. So we're in the U.S. and Canada around a $7 billion food company.
And we love you both, and we all have both of your products in our refrigerators, believe me. So Danone and Heineken are great role models for other organizations looking to strengthen their community leadership. Why is it important for global multinationals to participate in community engagement, such as through the Business Council of Westchester and many, many other organizations with whom you are so active? Nancy, why don't we start with you?
Well, our employees, our customers are in Westchester. Our consumers are found in Westchester, and we live and work in Westchester, and we want to make a positive impact on the community where we sit. Our mission as a company is to bring health through food to as many people as possible, and I think that begins at home. And so we are very, very dedicated to many of the organizations in Westchester, such as the American Heart Association of Westchester and also the Westchester Food Bank, where we volunteer and donate our products.
And it's most appreciated. And Josephine at Heineken?
Well, I would say, currently we're a global multinational, but we once started small. And we needed that community to thrive.
A family-owned business, right?
Family-owned business, exactly. And we needed the local community to thrive and to grow. And I think we still cherish that inspiration and that importance that we need the community to thrive, whether that's from a consumer perspective, from an employee perspective, from learning and inspiration. We needs to have the community to thrive as a company, and no matter the size that we have.
So what specific community initiatives are you most proud of at your organizations, and how have they impacted the community? Nancy?
I can start. So personally, last year I was chairwoman of the American Heart Association Walk in
Fabulous.
Westchester.
You did such a fabulous job.
Thank you. And I need volunteers. So anyone listening who would be interested in volunteering, please give me a ring, because we're going to be back in 2025. And then also, we are we have many volunteer days from many departments at the Westchester Food Bank to remind us of who our consumers are and the needs of our consumers. And when we go there, every time we see the products on the shelf, and that makes me incredibly proud.
And you should be proud, and it's most appreciated. And the education that happens through the Heart Association in terms of having a healthy heart is so important, and can only happen with support such as corporations such as Danone. And Josephine, I know the great things Heineken USA does also.
Well, I think the one thing I would like to call out, and that most people probably know us from, is the safe rides during New Year's Eve.
Absolutely.
To make sure that everyone can enjoy a great evening with family and friends and celebrate the new year, but also getting home safely by the rides that we offer everyone in White Plains.
So important. And I know also last year you had a wonderful intergenerational event with a smaller not-for-profit in Westchester, the Slater Center, and that looked like so much fun. It was so meaningful to the residents of the community.
We invited the Slater Center. Well, actually, we teamed up together, and we had a great event here at Heineken USA where we had employees and everyone connected to the Slater Center come together for dinner, for dancing, for bingo. It was a phenomenal event that we celebrated together, and all in the spirit of the joy of true togetherness, which is the Heineken purpose.
I love that. I really love that one. So Josephine Bertrams from Heineken and Nancy Dowling from Danone, how do you ensure that your companies stay ahead of emerging consumer trends?
Sorry, Josephine, if you'd like to take it first, go ahead. Right ahead.
No, you're talking, Nancy. Please, by all means, go.
Okay. I think we'll probably have a very similar answer to this because we're both consumer products goods companies where we have to really listen to our consumers. And so I think to say ahead of consumer trends is really just to be aware of your consumers and watching what interests them, what tastes they have, and trying to respond to those tastes and give your consumers what they're looking for. I'm also head of public public affairs and communications. And as such, we try to bring the outside in. We stay connected to what's happening across the country in many local states, as well as what's going on in Washington, D.C. And we try to keep the company informed of that. And then we have a really outstanding marketing team and comms team, and they do really great events. Just last week, we were in Lower Manhattan and with a silk influencer event where we invited people in, and some of the influencers from the Real Housewives of New York came, and we asked them, what do you prefer? Silk vanilla almond milk or milk on your cereal? And so that was just a really fun event with a lot of influencers. I
vote for almond milk. I've been drinking the almond milk that you have. It's absolutely terrific.
We'll put you on the lie detector, Marsha. See,
nope, that would be true.
They wanted to put me on the lie detector, but I would not go there.
And Josephine, how do you ensure that you stay ahead of emerging consumer trends?
I think what we are saying here is like we're consumer obsessed, right? Mm-hmm. So we have to put consumers first because it starts and ends with our consumer base, or people, as we like to call them. We say consumers, but there's people. And I think it comes down to talking, engaging, seeing. It's the same example that Nancy said, like talking to the people that are consumer products. What are they looking for? What is the next best thing? We're obsessed with all the social media platforms. What are the latest trends? What is really getting people to have a certain, is it a trend? Is it a conversation? It's a cultural trend. And I think for us, a great example has been, we saw the health and wellness trend for a long time coming. And hence the launch of our Heineken 0.0, the non-alcoholic proposition of the Heineken brand, which taps right into that trend, or that need from consumers to say, you know what, I love a beer, but I don't want to have the alcohol. and I want to cheers with my friends in the bar, but I don't want to have the alcohol. So I think that was right on the dot.
Right on the mark. And we should all be obsessed with our business and our product and service and everything that we do. And right now, you're listening to the BCW Podcast Network. I am obsessed about our Leadership Unleashed show, and we will be right back.
A lot goes into planning a birthday. For my daughter Cameron, it started with a stem cell transplant to cure her sickle cell disease. Yes, cure. Westchester Medical Center Health Network uses every technology, technique, and talented specialist to conquer diseases that could otherwise rob a child of childhood, helping my daughter and thousands of others at Maria Ferrari Children's Hospital. Happy birthday, Cameron.
Happy birthday to
WMC Health, advancing care here.
Today, we are back on the BCW Podcast Network. This is Marsha Gordon, President and CEO of the Business Council of Westchester. And today I have the pleasure of speaking all about leadership with Josephine Bertrams, Chief Corporate Affairs Officer of Heineken USA, and Nancy Dowling, the General Secretary for Danone North America. So you are both global organizations. And just interested to know what this means in terms of achievements in international leadership. What are the keys to successfully leading a multinational organization with headquarters in Europe? Josephine, why don't we start with you?
Sure. I love being part of a multinational company with different cultures. I love the fact that we have so many, at headquarters, I don't know how many different types of nationalities and cultures that we have. I'm Dutch, what you might notice by the accent. So I live now in the US for 6 years. I lived in the UK. I lived in Spain. I think the one thing I would say is being open-minded, but stay true to yourself, because you're going to learn different things about the different cultures that you're part of. But you will always stay true to who you are. The Dutch culture is one of consensus building, is one of getting a lot of input from different people. I'm still true to that.
Love
that. But I'm taking my pieces from the American culture too.
That's great. And Nancy?
It's such a rich experience, as Josephine says, and you meet you meet so many interesting people and experience so many interesting cultures. I am an American, often in Paris. I'm a proud American, and I love the give and take. Sometimes we develop a product in the US that goes multinational, and Oikos is an example. And sometimes we borrow from Europe, where Activia was first introduced, but then was brought to the US. So I find there's a lot of give and take in the company, taking the best out of all countries. And I love being part of that process.
And I love that you both really described how you each personally navigate and thrive in different cultural and country contexts. You did it so beautifully. How would you describe your management style? We'll start with Nancy this time, when it comes to working with and leading your staff. And by the way, you both have great teams. I've met your teams. I've worked with your teams. You have incredible people. You all working together. How do you achieve that?
I think first and foremost, you appreciate your people. You appreciate what they do. You remember to say thank you. I completely agree. We have a great team, and I'm so proud of my team. And then I try not to be hierarchical. So when I come in on Wednesdays is the day of the week where we want everyone in the team to be coming in. And on Wednesdays, I don't sit in an office. I sit in a desk next to my team. And so I hear all the conversation, we interact, and it makes my life much more rich. And I hope they feel like that I'm quite approachable and we can work through problems together.
That's beautifully said, Nancy. I would say for me, it's always we before me. It's always the team. It's always what everyone's input is, how we can make something better as a collective. So everyone can have the answer. I don't have the answers all the time. So it's always about how we can be better as the collective and the we before me.
Yeah, very, 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 very important. And so from your perspective, what skills or attributes, looking forward, will define the next generation of successful leaders? Josephine?
I would say, I find this a tough question, but agility and resilience. Because if you look even today, what's happening around us, the pace of change, whether that's geopolitically, whether that's through AI, you name it, you have to be comfortable with a fast pace and change. And in order to lead through that, you need to be agile and resilient and be flexible. Those will be my 2 cents.
That's so funny because that's exactly what I was thinking. The speed to change is remarkable, and you need to be able to adapt to that change. So you need agility. I think you also need a fundamental grasp of the principles that have always been true, and then apply those principles to all the new media, all the new situations that are arising. But don't lose sight of the fundamentals that we all learned.
And there's a lot to learn to accomplish all this. I mean, I don't know about you, but as a leader, I don't know that I started off with as much resilience and agility, for example. And these are soft skills, right? I mean, it's easy to learn what's in the textbook or something, but these are our personal attributes that are gained along the way. Do you find that in terms of your leadership?
I can give you an example from today. Front of pack labeling was released by the FDA today, a new front of pack labeling program. I'm on my team going, how fast can we figure out how this impacts our business and get a summary to the leadership? It's like if it comes out, you want to be reacting that moment, that day.
Yeah.
Very, 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 very important. So that leads to my next question. But first, we're going to take a break to listen to our sponsor, Westchester Medical Center. You're listening to the BCW Podcast Network. This is Leadership Unleashed, and we will be right back.
This is the coming home you dream about.
But getting here was unimaginable.
At 25 weeks, I was hemorrhaging badly, losing amniotic fluid. Fortunately, I was taken to Westchester Medical Center, where they have the most advanced care in the Hudson Valley for high-risk pregnancies and premature babies. And because we were there, now we're here.
WMC Health, advancing care here.
Back to the BCW Podcast Network. This is Leadership Unleashed. Josephine Bertrams, Nancy Dowling, and I have been having a great conversation surrounding community and international leadership, consumer trends with Heineken and Danone, and so much more. And we were just talking about learning new trends, and I think we all learned a lot during COVID, right? We all did. You know, it was a time when we had to undo old beliefs and having to be in the office and having always to be together and technology. I learned a lot during that time. And I never thought, for example, I could work at home. I never thought I could work at home, and I was able to do it. And I was able to gain that skill, and the teamwork became really important, and also sharing more, opening up more. So I think those are probably things. Did you agree that we all learned during that time? I did, certainly.
Yeah.
You know, so it's really, really important. And that, you know, and I think that also helped define what the next generation of successful leaders are going to look like. So from your perspective, what skills or attributes will define the next generation of successful leaders? Josephine?
I think we briefly touched upon it earlier. Is about the need for being agile, resilient, being able to keep up with the pace of change, because that is ongoing. But also staying true to who you are and your authentic self will remain incredibly important.
That's very, very good advice. And Nancy?
I've had, I'm on the downside, I would say, the last third of my career, let's say that. And I've had 3 kids
Which might
through
be
it
the
all.
upside, right?
Yes. And there's tough years. And I would say, particularly to the women, don't ever quit. Keep moving, keep going. And then both Josephine and I spent some time in Amsterdam, ironically enough, with Danone. And Josephine is spending time here in the US with Heineken. And so
Yeah.
I would say, don't be afraid to do the unexpected. Try new things. It keeps it fresh. It keeps it, you're always learning something. And that makes career fun. So.
Yeah.
And how important is it to reach out to other people, in different industries, in your industry, in different job sectors, but just to share leadership experiences? And is that something that you recommend?
Oh, absolutely. I think the learning is a never-ending journey. So, and you will learn from anyone and from anywhere. So I take great, I spend a lot of time talking to other leaders in different industries or wherever they can come from to learn from how they experience certain challenges and how they're dealing with and what I can learn from that. So, no, absolutely.
Very important. And for both of you, what is your number one piece of advice for aspiring leaders, or something you wish you could have told your younger self?
Don't quit.
Don't quit. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. I can relate.
I would say there are multiple things I could say, but it's whatever it is, go for it and don't hesitate. And maybe this could be personal, but the number of times I've overthought and have been overthinking about decisions, or should I move, or should I do this job, or do I have the right qualifications for it? Just go for it. It's fine to make mistakes. You'll learn from it, and you will even grow faster from it. So don't wait.
Yeah.
Don't wait.
I think that's such excellent advice from both of you. I have learned so much from you today on leadership, especially leading global organizations here in the U.S. and abroad. We are so proud. I cannot say this loudly enough because I know that our audience will be international for this one. So proud to have both Danone and Heineken USA as corporate members, winners of the Business Hall of Fame, corporate members in Westchester County and White Plains, New York. We are very, very fortunate you have chosen to make this home here, and we appreciate your support and all you do for our community. Thank you for joining us today, Josephine and Nancy, and we once again want to thank our sponsor, Westchester Medical Center, and our listeners.
Marsha.
Thank you, Marsha.